When technical or subject matter experts get promoted into management or leadership positions, they often lean into their expertise to help them lead. This is a mistake. Why? Because leadership is less about knowing the answers and more about getting the best out of people. In this video, I'll help you to start doing that fast. I'm Neil Bierbaum, and I help advancing leaders to make sense of the soft skills landscape, navigate uncertainty, and build high-performing teams. Today, I'll walk you through the 3 mindset shifts that are essential for recently promoted technical experts to make a quantum shift into becoming effective leaders. Let's get into it. Shift number 1, make the decision to lead. I don't know how it was for you, but I chose my first career path as a writer because I had both a passion and a talent for it. But I was very soon promoted and found myself as the editor, which meant I got to write my whole 400-word editor's column every month and very little else. Okay, I could boss the others into letting me interview the really famous people, which is how I got to spend half a day with Richard Branson, hang out backstage with Michael Hutchins and NXS and a few others. But apart from that, very little writing. I was young too, still in my late 20s when that happened, and after a few years, I felt I was missing out on what I had signed up for in the first place. I wasn't ready for the responsibility. I wanted to go back to writing. So I resigned and returned to freelance work, which, believe me, is a lot harder than being an editor. And just to complete that story, it was while searching for meaningful content to write about that I found my way into coaching, and that led me to where I am today, where I write and speak about what I've learned as a coach, just in case you were wondering. The important point for you is that in a very similar way, you probably got into your field because of a passion or talent, and you enjoy doing what you do. Or you got into it for other reasons, you were sent to do it and learned to enjoy doing what you do, the research, the engineering, the copywriting, the legal drafting, or whatever it may be. Can't imagine anybody enjoying legal drafting, but there you have it. And even if you didn't enjoy it, you probably leaned into it a whole lot to build your reputation and assert yourself. So either way, sooner or later, your expertise and experience got you promoted to the point where now you do less of that stuff and more managing and leading. And that might entail a lot of paper pushing, meetings, making budget decisions, thinking about strategy, giving feedback and performance reviews, dealing with conflict, and so on. And you might feel at times that that's not what you signed up for. Well, that's the decision that you have to make deep in your soul. Are you ready and willing to step into that role, to be that leader? I wasn't, but I was young and a little rebellious and irresponsible, so don't take my example as the one to follow. If I had that choice again today, knowing what I know now, I might have made it differently. So we call that the decision to lead, and the decision to lead is key because making it will unlock all your energy for the role. If you've only had one foot in it until now, people won't be getting the best of you. And when you're a leader, all eyes are on you, so it will be noticed. So your first move is to go away, have a good think and a soul search, and make the decision whether you're going to embrace the role or not. If not, you need to be clear with your managers or HR people, and you need to find your way back to being a subject matter expert or specialist and carve your career, at least for now or maybe forever, in that direction. If you decide to embrace the role, there's probably no need to announce it. You'll feel it instantly, and it will be noticeable in the way that you show up, with more energy, more commitment, and authenticity in serving the role. And just one caveat, moving into leadership is a part of aging and maturing. It comes to everybody at some point, so it's not easy to avoid or turn away from. Sometimes the decision to lead is less a decision of whether you like it or not, and more a decision of whether you're willing to accept the inevitability of maturing and growing up, the journey to maturity, and the fact that life only moves forwards and not backwards. So sometimes the decision to lead is also a decision to grow up. I've seen this in many of my clients, and that was a major aha for them. So I'm sharing it with you now because I've seen how closely linked those two decisions are. Shift number 2, know your tools and your materials. When you move from being a technical expert to being a leader, the job requirements change, and so the range of skills has to change. We can also say that the materials that you work with change. Let's use the analogy of a carpenter. The material that you work with as a carpenter is wood. So you have to know the qualities of different woods. Which one has the most attractive grain for different types of furniture? Which one weathers better and can be used outdoors? Which one is easier to bend or curve, to cut or to sand smoothly? Or which is best if you want a rough finish? When you get promoted to foreman and then to factory manager, the material that you're handling every day is no longer wood. It's people and personalities. Yeah, it's probably spreadsheets and reports too. And so what do you need to know to be able to read spreadsheets and reports? Probably some maths and accounting. And more importantly, what do you need to know about people? Well, if you pay attention, you'll see that everything that happens between people happens using language. We use words to exchange information, make plans, create agreements, give feedback, deal with conflict, answer technical questions. It's all done using words. So, as a leader, instead of your material being wood, your material is now people, and your tools are no longer saws, hammers, chisels, but words, language, conversations. And you'll need to learn to work with these materials and use these tools. This means developing new capabilities with regards to using language, new words, new phrasing, a whole new tone and rhythm, not to mention watching your body language. Everybody's eyes will be on you. What you say, and more importantly, how you say it, will have an ongoing and lasting impact on your team. If you get it right, they'll be able to focus all their attention on their job and function effectively. If you get it wrong, a lot of energy will get wasted through people not understanding what you meant or unclear on your intentions, and so having to go away and reinterpret what you said, maybe discussing it among each other because they're too afraid to go back to you, and then ending up doing the wrong thing. We call that entropy, wasted energy in the system. It's about too much noise and not enough signal. And it all starts with you. So you need to know your materials, the people, and learn to work with the tools, the language. Shift number 3, work at the right level. When you lean too much into your subject matter expertise for your leadership style, you end up working at the wrong level, a level below where you should be. Why? Because you're still doing too much of your old job or doing too much of the thinking for the people reporting to you. Let me illustrate. Say you need to delegate a task, but it will take too long. You're too busy and it'll take too long to explain what you want, and you know you can do it better than anybody. So you just jump in and do it. Well, you just did your old job, worked at the wrong level, and guess what else? You disempowered the person who is now in that position. You didn't let them learn. Of course, you'll tell yourself it's just this time, next time you'll delegate. But next time you're equally busy, just as much in a hurry. And so you do it again. And so in 6 months' time, you're all still working at the wrong level, and you have people who feel disempowered reporting into you. You're fast becoming an ineffective and unpopular leader. At some point, you have to make that shift. There are various factors that can stand in your way from working at the right level. Being busy often seems like the main one, and we used it in the above example. But that's often just the excuse. The real issue generally lies deeper. Perhaps you're a perfectionist, or maybe you don't trust other people to do it right, or you don't feel confident in communicating the instruction, that language capability issue that we talked about earlier. One leader I coached insisted that delegating was just passing the buck. That's how far we'll go to hold on to stuff and not delegate. And the outcome, as I said, is people working at the wrong level. You don't want that. You want your leadership to be about elevating the level of work. It's good for the people and good for the business. And that's what is required of you as a leader. As a little bonus, here's a distinction that can help you think about whether you're working at the right level or not. It's the distinction between issues and problems. Problems are finite and come to an end when they are dealt with. A machine breaking down is a problem. When it's fixed, the problem goes away. Issues are different. They're about advancements or improvements which are ongoing. Reducing machine downtime would be an issue. Addressing issues leads to decisions like using a different supplier or using the machine more efficiently so that there are fewer breakdowns. Issues require monitoring and revisiting, revising earlier decisions maybe. Your job as a manager and a leader is to focus on the issues and delegate the problems. That could look different according to what business you're in, what industry you're in, or what level you're at. At a senior level, for example, focus on issues could mean something like translating strategy into KPIs and monitoring those, and pushing operational problems down to the next level. So let's recap those 3 key mindset shifts that new leaders need to make. We could probably say that the first one, the decision to lead, is a problem in that it's a one-time decision you need to make, and maybe then you'll have to remind yourself a few times that you've made it when you're having a bad day and you no longer feel like leading. The other 2 are issues that you need to be aware of and monitor, and you can do this by asking yourself these questions. First one would be, how well do I know my material? And the second one would be, are we all working at the right level? Or what would working at the right level look like on this issue? And so those are not questions to close down with one single answer, but to keep alive and keep asking yourself those questions. And if you do that, you'll ensure that you'll continually improve and grow as a leader. You're watching The Leadership Script, where you learn to embrace the leadership role and write your own script. If you found value from this and want to grow as an effective and authentic leader, make sure you subscribe and also share it with others who you think will benefit. Leave some feedback in the comments about what you've learned from this video. I'd love to hear from you and what you'll be doing differently. Also, let me know through the comments what leadership issues you're struggling with that you'd like me to address. Be sure to check out the other videos on this channel. And if you'd like to engage in coaching with me, follow the link to my website or LinkedIn page. Thank you. And remember, leadership is a role, and you write the script.
Thank you.